Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With the cornfields in the rear view, it's time to go bowling at the Glen. Brian and I are in to recap all that was Iowa. We had fun, what happened, betting card, DraftKings, all that good stuff. Plus, we get our final road course of the regular season. I don't even know. Roval is sort of it's like basically road course, but it's not really. So I think it's really the final road course. But obviously, the road course ringers thrive a lot at the Roval. But that's neither here nor there. Brian Twining in to join me. We are recording this on Tuesday evening. We'll go through some of the odds as well for the Go Bowling at the Glen. Can we bet anyone? Is it worth our time? Did we learn anything from the other road courses where we said don't bet anyone? It's wasted time. Who did we bet? Where do we waste our money? All that good stuff. Brian Twining, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great now that I've allowed Iowa to settle, gotten over the non-race of Sunday, and come to grips with the fact that William Byron wins another race, not on talent or speed, just based on the fact that he had track position.
I mean, if we're going to play that game, then everyone who wins is basically in track position.
Byron was really good, but I'm pretty sure 20 to 25 cars, had they been in his same spot out front, they probably win the race too.
Yeah, but I feel like we can say it like 80% of the time.
Yeah, but that's the difference. Like when we go to intermediate tracks, it's actually about speed and pace. And
that's why everyone everyone says get all this other shenanigans off the season and let's just run ovals and let's just have fun. So I don't know.
We had fuel saving at a short track. How effing disgusting is that?
I have a question, and I want to get everyone's feedback because I think Brian and I are both biased as we hit outrights on these two tracks. But which race was more fun, more enjoyable, more entertaining, Iowa or the Brickyard? Drop it in the comments. Let us know. Obviously, the end of the Brickyard was incredible. But like 95% of that race was ass.
However,
extreme
let
Stephen
me point
A.
out
Smith
the fact
voice.
that at the Brickyard, the guy who was in position to win the race, when Logano's flat occurred, he still wound up winning the race.
Yeah, because Bubba was awesome.
That's what I'm okay. The best car, or the guy who put.
I mean,
guess
he Kyle Larson on a
happened
restart
at
twice.
Iowa,
I'll give him all the credit in the world, but
the thing is that at Iowa, Byron was really good, but we all saw it at the end of stage one. Brad Keselowski was better, and he actually passed him.
So I'm not convinced he was better.
Brad Keselowski had 30-something% more fastest laps.
Yeah, no, I mean he was great. Don't get me wrong, Brad was great, and yeah, I mean I think, and I even said this on Twitter. I think I said the 6 and 12 were the best cars, and then it was Byron. But Denny pointed out something interesting on the Action Detrimental today, where he was talking about Byron at the end of stage one, that's why I was texting you. I'm like, what's going on with the 24? Why? And apparently, it's like when he's in clean air, he's great and he's cruising.
Yes.
But as soon as he hit those back markers, even though they're the back markers, he can't pass them. And so even though he can't get around them, and then all of a sudden he's stuck, and then all of a sudden here comes Brad and Cindric.
Well, yeah. So Cindric and Brad were the other two that were battling up front, and I think that's what made Iowa even more frustrating than Indy, is that even though we didn't have passing at Indy, we kind of went into that race fully expecting that. Whereas Iowa, there wasn't a lot of passing last year either, but we didn't expect this, where there was
I think we came into the race with a lot more optimism than we probably should have.
Yeah, the end of stage one basically was the prelude to what was going to occur the rest of the day, when the leaders, William Byron, Brad Keselowski, got stuck behind a group of like 3 to 4 lap cars, and Byron couldn't pass them.
But we did have movers. We did have people coming and going. We had Ryan Blaney really making a run at the end.
I think so. This is another look. Hats off to the 23 team too for coming back from 2 laps down and restarting that last segment in 28th or something, getting all the way back up to 6th. But they were only able to do that because they were so far off cycle from everybody else in pitting that they had 50 to 60 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field.
Yeah.
If he's on even 30 lap older stuff, there's no way he's making that happen.
Yeah, ifs and buts or coconuts. What are we talking about? If William
I
Byron
know, but
didn't
the
have
thing is
tires on
that
his car and had cinder blocks, he wouldn't have gone anywhere and not won the race. I mean, we're just arbitrarily.
But that just hammers home the point that
tires
the
matter.
Gen 7 car has really, I guess, gotten worse.
Yes, Denny ranted and raved about it.
Yeah,
this is the car
it's
we
gotten
have, and this
worse.
is the car we're stuck with, and they're not going to make changes. And it was funny too because he's like, yeah, they did. Apparently, they tested a tire that fell off after 25 laps, and they don't want to use that. They don't actually want. It's like the first down thing, man. They don't actually want to fix it. They want this is what they want. They want efficiency. They want to get the race in.
Yeah,
they don't
I
want
was tweeting about it early.
6 hour races because they're always pitting and always having
I was
issues.
tweeting early and often, going back to what Denny said at the beginning of this year in one of his episodes where he talked about how NASCAR's whole plan here was to give the perception that guys could pass, not actually give them the ability to pass. And that played out perfectly this last weekend in Iowa, even more so than at Indy. The fact that, say, even Blaney, for instance, in that last run, he was coming so hard at Brad Keselowski and William Byron that's definitely going to be a clip. He was coming so quick to the front, and yet he couldn't even get around Keselowski, who was at that point running, I don't know, maybe a half second slower than Blaney. But because he took the preferred line, Blaney just couldn't get around him.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too. They also mentioned they just decided to repave half the track for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to fix that. No. Anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, curious to hear your thoughts. It's just I feel like we've been doing the same thing. Tires never matter. There's not a lot of passing. Things don't really.
Every friggin' week, it's oh, we got a new tire. We tested this tires. At this point, how do they not realize tires aren't going to do shit for the actual vehicle itself?
It will if they use the ones that fall off, like Denny was talking about, but they don't.
Yeah, but that was apparently that was an accident at Bristol.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Is that
yeah.
I wish we could have that tire every race.
The most compelling races we've had, even with SVG dog walking the field, has been Mexico City, Sonoma.
Yep.
It's crazy. So maybe we'll get a fun race this weekend. All right, let's recap DraftKings, the betting card, all that stuff, because your boy had some fun. So let's present my screen here.
Hey, we'll just say both of us wound up in the green this week. Me, not anywhere close to Mr. Kyle over here. But
no. Let's see. I believe it's this one. Yeah. So, if you're new here, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Even if you're not new, if you've yet to do either of those things, please do that. It helps us out tremendously. How's that from a view perspective, Brian? Can you see that okay? I'll make it a little bigger.
No, that's good.
Cool. So DraftKings was interesting. I'll pull it up over here and bring it over. Our newsletter, it comes out every week. We drop it on race day. I highly recommend jumping in there as we break down our favorite DraftKings plays. Thanks to our friends over at Win the Race for giving us for being a partner with us this season. They've been a tremendous help. Obviously, their tools, their sims, their Discord, all that stuff. Doing a great deal right now where you get a huge discount. It's $30 for the month. So highly recommend jumping in for the playoffs, riding it out. You get a lot of really good tools. But I went Byron over Larson, which I was really, really happy to do. And then obviously we'll talk about Ryan Preece here in a little bit. But Larson, a lot of optimism going in. But the thing about Larson is his ceiling, but his floor. And he's got a lot of Ricky Bobby if you're not first or last to him.
Is it safe to say that he shat the bed?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, he does that constantly. But he's so good when he's good
Yeah.
that it's hard to, So we talked about that before. We said he could absolutely dog walk the field or he could be a mess, and he was a mess. Christopher Bell, there was peaks and valleys with him for sure. I never really felt like he was a true contender, which was
Yeah,
interesting.
Iowa to me, after seeing it again, not only is just the product horrible because of the car,
Yeah,
but I think it's so different from the other short tracks that we go to. And, Bell always pops on all the metrics when you go to short tracks and especially short flats. But
yeah,
I was a little
great.
skeptical of him coming into the week just because Toyota last year drove like shit.
Yep.
And this year, I mean, outside of
Briscoe again, and he had
Briscoe
track position.
kind of maintaining, like they really weren't all that great either.
Yeah, and speaking of not that great, Christopher Busher, just another underwhelming performance.
Well, okay. So this goes back to the broadcasting stuff. So there was a point in the race late when Busher actually received an equipment interference penalty on pit
Yeah,
road that was not reported that I saw
Mhm.
by.
He talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I
I
read it
was
on
like,
Twitter, but I'm pretty sure they talked about it.
I was tripping out because I was saying like, how the hell did he go back further again? Like, what
They
is
were
happening?
talking about how they didn't seem like he should have had a penalty, and they played even his audio or his crew chief or somebody talking.
I might have been like dozing off or something from freaking Ring Around the Rosie, but
Well, you have your in car cams going, and you're listening to that audio and stuff too. I had the beautiful audio of Steve Letarte and Lee Diffie just tickling the eardrum. My favorite thing was they were talking about how awesome Kyle Busch had been when he got luck boxed into track position. He made it.
oh man, I was
Like
freaking out when
he's
they were talking
the,
about
the
that.
amazing strategy of Kyle Busch and knowing when those cautions are going to come
Oh
out
my
and
gosh,
being able
yeah.
to stay near the front. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
guys.
and by the way, I think it's also fair to say that caution, I believe it was SVG that brought that out.
Yeah.
That flipped the entire
Oh,
field and the entire
1000%.
race on its head.
1000%.
Yeah.
I was very concerned when that happened. I was like, oh shit, this is going to go poorly, and it didn't. Things got
Yeah.
back to where they belong. Watermelon Man, another guy on my list. Obviously, me and 35% of the field, but I liked him quite a bit. Eric Jones, solid performance.
Let me just say, I think Chastain was a little less spectacular than I thought he was going to be, but I think a lot of that can be attributed to the inability to pass here.
But also starting 28th, and even if he's not we thought maybe he could be a top 5 car,
Yeah.
and even when he's not quite there, he can still be really good for
Yeah.
DraftKings.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's really interesting. Obviously Byron, amazing, good job, Willie B. Chase Elliott, I had him head to head against Denny that I got on Sunday morning, and it was a little sweatier than I had hoped, but we'll talk about that. Obviously Busher, shouts to Bubba Wallace, as you mentioned, threw tires on, made it work. Alex Bowman, 7th. Once again, Bowman's just rock solid, second best Hendrick car. Even though everybody puts him 4th. So, and then our guy Ryan Preece, you're like, I don't know, Ryan Preece.
He was the luckiest driver of
He
the
was a
race
big
weekend.
benefactor of the well-timed cautions.
Yeah, I think he was the biggest benefactor because that car was dangerously close to getting lapped
Right.
at the
But
end of
once he
stage
got to a
1.
good position, he, unlike Kyle Busch, actually was
Correct.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
RFK, and that's why it was so frustrating to see
Busher.
Busher be so terrible, because clearly Brad was a rocket.
Yeah.
Priest looked good once he got up front, and maybe Busher never really had a chance, but I don't know. It was
There was a point where Busher, I think, had gotten up to, I want to say it was like 13th or 14th. And
yeah,
I believe it was after stage 1 when they came out from the pit cycle. I
yeah,
think he had restarted 13th or 14th, and he just kind of ran there like
yeah.
everybody else was doing during that stage. And then he had the pit road issue and all that stuff. So that kind of ruined his day.
So this is our best lineup by far. Obviously, having Byron definitely helped, but it was a pretty strong lineup and it helped us. This lineup not so much. Obviously, Denny was, as we
ass.
mentioned, the Toyotas definitely didn't bring it. Briscoe was solid. Obviously, finishing second definitely helps, but led a bunch of laps, 20 fast laps. He was solid. Chastain, Suarez was, Danielson, and Joey Gase. We thought we were getting guys in, and we did not. I built this, I think, around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning before the race.
Kyle burning the midnight oil over here.
Obviously, the Byron Priest combo was great. Chastain is a single entry and got one of the cash spots, so I was pretty happy with that. So DraftKings is getting better, but let's talk a little betting, baby. William Byron, 11-1. The number was out of whack. I don't think I'm betting it at 8 or 9 like a lot of the books had. FanDuel,
Or when he reopened at like 6.
Oh well, yeah, I wasn't. No, we even talked about that Saturday night. Yeah. But when he was 11 at FanDuel, I got it at 12 at our favorite offshore. That felt nice. That felt really good. And like, obviously, it's William Byron. We've talked about it, our frustrations with him, but sometimes with drivers that, especially that are that good, obviously he's had issues, right? Tire issues, running out of gas. He almost did that
Twice.
Between Michigan and all these other places, even Denny broke it down, like how strong he's been. Obviously, he doesn't have the finishing results that match, but he's still, I think he's back in first place now after this win, right? In the season standings. So he's been great. And obviously, it's frustrating when you line up and bet him and you're betting him at shorter numbers, but if they're going to give me double digits on Byron, I'm probably going to hit that most weeks outside of like speedways and road courses. So obviously happy to have that. The Logano train, I got caught up in the hype. There's always, it seems like, a driver or two that the NASCAR ethos gets excited about.
Everyone gets into the echo chamber.
And nothing ever goes well with that driver.
Yeah.
And then honestly, Brian Blaney putting it as finishing as strong as he did, getting that kiss of death from the Caesars boost, was pretty impressive. And then we talked about this when we were writing. I was writing up the newsletter once again. Make sure you are subscribed to that, because I was like really searching for something, which I think this actually hit too, which was nice. I know Briscoe beat Brad, huh? No, wait, I had 2.5 places that cashed. We drop our grid rival picks in here, but
Hocevar ruined that grid rival.
Oh yeah, he got better, huh?
Somehow.
That's right.
Hurricane Hocevar still came home. I think it was 9th or something.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
But we were talking on Saturday night, and I was like scraping and clawing for something. I couldn't find a bet I liked. We talked about Brad, and we were trying. I was like, "There's opportunity in this top Ford market, especially when I saw Caesars give that boost to Blaney." And obviously, he almost got me at the end. It was very, very close. I was like, "Is it Priest? Is it Cindric? Is it like?"
But I think though, even if Blaney had gotten Keselowski, you could have went home knowing that you played the right guy.
Oh
in
yeah,
that
for
market.
sure. Brad was a race winning contender. So to get him for top Ford was awesome. So Brad K top Ford, Bubba Wallace top 10. There was also a group D that a lot of us jumped on, that obviously didn't make the card here, but got on my card personally, and his number was way too long.
Way too over.
So I got some of that. But yeah, so it was an amazing week. So I went from in a massive hole to in the green. So we'll look at that here in a second. Good, not great week for you, Brian. It's interesting because we talked about top four, or talked about Ford being the winner a lot on Tuesday night.
Yep.
And then by Saturday, I'm like, are you nervous? Do you not feel as good? And you're like, not really. It's a fine number, but like obviously I don't feel as good about it. But ultimately, like the Fords were up front like all day.
There was a point in the race when they were running Keselowski, Cindric, and I want to say it was like Priest or some.
Well, there was a
some
point
other.
where it was Keselowski, Priest, Blaney. There was like 4 of the top 6 were all
And I
Fords.
know Cindric was up there too. I'm sitting there
Yeah.
watching this, going, "Well, shit! This literally just fell into my lap because outside of chaos happening, which sure enough it did. Like this, I felt great at that point. Which,
but even at like other points, like throughout that whole race, Ford was up front and occupying a lot of the top 10. And like,
but I mean, in reality, though, there was no way that I was watching that with Austin Cindric running up front thinking, oh, yeah, he's going to stay there all day.
No, but you had Ryan Blaney, who obviously found speed late. You had Brad Keselowski, who was awesome all day. And then there was other comers and goers that were Fords.
Yeah.
I think there was a very real outcome where, because if Byron falters at all, it's probably a Ford winning.
No, I think
maybe it's Briscoe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Briscoe, because Briscoe was gonna hold off Brad there at the end. I don't know. Look, I'm still gonna complain about the racing, and then quick little tangent without going way too far. They really need to stop feeding the viewers complete bullshit fuel information. And if they don't know, they need to remove that stupid percentage shit that they're showing, because you cannot go on there and tell people that William Byron is running on 4% fuel with 8 laps to go and then just take it down and then watch him finish the race and expect us not to question the information that they're feeding us.
Well, it's hard to know what they're pulling from, because obviously, like Brad, even like he didn't get enough fuel when he filled up. So are they assuming the fuel is full? And like even Denny was talking about this and had a really good conversation, Action Detrimental. But
yes, the episode was really good by Denny.
Especially if you're into like the nerdy shit. But they were talking about like fuel mileage and trying to figure that out, and like how are they figuring that out? He said every team's kind of figuring out their own thing. We know Ford has a little bit bigger of a tank, so that's hard. Like it's just there's a lot of stuff going into it, and obviously you can kind of do some generic math. Obviously, a big part of what saved Byron's day was all the cautions. If those cautions don't fall, and that's he definitely has to pit, and he's not winning the race.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. But so my biggest issue, as somebody who obviously we don't do this for a living, but like we do this very frequently. So we're into numbers. We like data. We like percentages. You cannot show a percentage of fuel that is an estimate. You can show a little stupid phone battery bar. Yeah. I'm okay with that, because even your phone, sometimes when it looks like it's dead, it still has 3%.
But don't give the percentage Brian, out. We're the minority here. That stuff's not for us. Just like a lot of the stuff that's in the football broadcast is not for us.
I guess. And
obviously, would it be amazing to have an alt cast with bettors and other people that are really into it and not feeding that nonsense and not saying, "Oh, this is a great bet at 2-1 or 2.5 to 1." The guy's in the lead. Obviously, he's going to win. Like, it's not for us.
Yeah, I guess it's just irritating. Like
for Uncle Joe sitting on the couch, half asleep, 12 bush lights in, just like having himself a time. Like that's what it's for. And
yeah,
it's just it's less about the exact percentages and more about understanding where everyone is related to each other. Knowing that Byron is clearly is like the lowest, and then there's other strategies.
And to me, like that's enough. That's enough information, because they're not actually getting the exact data. They shouldn't be going the extra mile to show what their percentage of their fuel tank is. They have no effing idea what percentage.
But the people that are excited about that and that like are really feeding into that don't know that they don't know, and that's fine too.
I guess.
If you don't know what you don't know, then you don't have to worry about it. I don't know.
And then
Anyway,
last
William
thing
Byron.
to everybody that's complaining about Lee Diffie's accent, you can go pound sand and get the F off the reservation. Lee Diffie is freaking awesome for the sport.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So obviously hitting a 11-1 winner is great for business. Also having a few other decent bets hit, top four, Bubba, really made up for some ground. So obviously great to get myself out of a big hole. I can't wait to see how I put myself back in there, but we'll definitely give it a go. And you obviously made up some ground, so we'll see.
And then on making up ground real quick, I think this is the luckiest card that I've had in my favor in quite some time, because Bubba Wallace should not have been a top 10 car. Bubba Wallace should not have finished ahead of Ross Chastain.
Nope. But there's a lot of time this year where we've been on the right side and we've gotten screwed for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
Stuff out of our control, caution. That's what happens when you bet on race cars with engines and wheels and all kinds of nonsense. And Carson Hocevar are constantly ringing up a new enemy and all this stuff, like
and fake fuel info.
So, but yeah, obviously I enjoyed Iowa more than you. I'm cautiously optimistic that we get a fun race at the Glen. We'll talk about those odds here in a second. And then obviously we have the Glen, we have Richmond, we have Daytona. Get us to 1,500 subs.
So you can do it.
So we can do a giveaway and reward everybody who's been riding along. I'm still in second place in the Grid Rival League, trying to get to first. We'll see if I can do that. But yeah, we'll see. Any other corn related? I did like all the drivers and the team eating the corn on the podium.
Yes, that was cool.
Pretty funny. But any other Iowa corn thoughts?
I think the track would be awesome if they just get rid of the damn Gen 7 car there, I guess, or change the arrows some way, like
or repave it and then
something.
Something.
Or give us those damn 2.5 second fall off tires. Like force guys to have to baby their shit.
Yeah, but you know who's gonna love that? Brad and Hamlin.
So what? Make the kids get better at preserving their tires.
To win. NASCAR doesn't want the olds to win. So
I guess.
All right. Should we flip the page and talk a little Glen?
Let's go for it.
Oh, cool. Good job. Caesars.
Just got to reload. Caesars was having multiple issues today.
We'll talk about a few different things here. SVG plus 135. I think he was. What was the best line you could get on him when the lines open? Because I know you and the Discord were losing your minds over.
So he opened at, I think it was plus 190 at ESPN.
All right, so it wasn't even 2-1 anywhere.
Nor should he be.
No. Zilich was double digits at a few books, even our friend's Superbook. I think he was 16 at one point.
So Zilich opened at 16, but that number was so short-lived. I don't think anybody should be claiming like, oh, this is part of my card. Like that's a black market number, because
maybe
it opened like that. And literally, look, I bet it at Superbook, and it moved within 5 minutes after I bet it, and I did not play a lot on it. So they probably saw my bet. I'm sure somebody else bet it, and they went, oh shit. They moved it to 10.
Yeah.
And then it got like Caesars was taking their lines down and reposting them they put them at 12, 10, 950, like 750 and 6.
So I want to have the Zilich conversation. Do you want to run through some more numbers first, or do you want to have the Zilich conversation now?
Yeah, we could talk about Zilich real quick.
Okay, so I know you went head to head at Sonoma and beat SVG and won the race. But doesn't it feel like anything less than double digits is egregious price on Zilich at this point? Even as good as he is.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
He's running the 4th Trackhouse car instead of.
I'd say it's like the 3rd because.
Okay. Well, like, even if you want to say it's the best Trackhouse car, say it's the best Trackhouse car. We're giving him the best Trackhouse car. He's still not like JGR the Junior Motorsports in Xfinity is like.
Oh yeah, they're like HMS.
Absurd. Like, they're so good in Xfinity.
Yeah.
Their car is a rocket compared to like 90% of the field. Obviously, I think long-term, Zilich is amazing. But giving him 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whatever, wherever you want to put it, a Trackhouse car in this field, and knowing that, okay, SVG, could he have moved him at Sonoma? Absolutely. Did he not do it because they're going to be teammates and there's an understanding?
And Zilich is in a championship,
and he's not in the Xfinity run anymore. It's just another drive for him. He was fine sitting there. But if it's Cup and he can go for that win, especially after last year where Buescher moved him and took the win, he's going to want to come back for what's his. I don't know. Like, people betting him, like I had a 750. I was looking at. I was like, that's too short. There's
even because you texted me that and I was like, no, that's not. Because look, I think Connor Zilich is actually going to be really good this weekend, and I'm kind of in the middle of the two arguments of, he's an Xfinity guy jumping in the Cup, so the level of competition is way better than he's used to, which is the same spot that I was at COTA, which kind of got squashed early on there because he was damn fast at COTA too before wrecking out at the hands of Daniel Suarez. So I do think that he's definitely a top 10 car coming into here, because when you look at just overall road course talents in the Cup Series, I think you can maybe say there's like 6 to 8 guys that can run up front, and the guys who can actually win is even less, just because of equipment or what have you, or consistency at pitting and stuff like that. So I think Zilich is definitely going to be a contender for a top 5, but I'm not touching his outright price at anything less than 10, 12. And even that's pushing it. I like I said, I grabbed that 16 because I knew that was going to be basically a bad line. And so I'm happy holding that. Yeah. But beyond that's
a completely reasonable number. I think if you got between 12 and 16, I think that's a fine number. I don't think it's going to win, but it's good enough where he could put himself in position and you have yourself a runner. And then you can also bet SVG, knowing that if he loses, it's probably going to be one of a couple people competing with him. You're going to be beating him.
So, well, that's pretty much exactly what I've done. Like I have 2 outrights, and it's Zilich at 16, and I got Shane at plus 160. That's
if you really want him. Caesars, BetMGM, and Bet Rivers all have him at 550 at the time of recording. Brian and I would not bet that.
No,
but those are the best in market by far. Beyond there, Larson 12, McDowell 12, Elliott 14, Bell 16, Byron 16, Dinger 18, Kyle Busch 18, Tyler Reddick 18, Christopher Buescher is 20. Anything is it okay? Let's put it this way. As number 6, because obviously there was opportunity with some of these guys at longer numbers. Is it basically SV Jesus and that's it?
Yeah, look, we saw it firsthand in Sonoma. I saw it in Chicago. This guy he's not even in our universe. Like, he's an alien on road courses.
And he's so much more comfortable in that car driving it every week.
Yes. And we have to remember,
just randomly jumping into it.
He was with Colleague last year here. And no offense to Colleague cars, but they're a step down from Trackhouse. And especially last year when even Dinger, like he had all those mechanical failures and he didn't really have the pace. So like, I don't know what people are looking at this week, except for the fact that Shane is probably going to curb stomp the field again. He was running over a second faster than the field, the entire field.
Question. Is there an opportunity here to bet Shane to win the Cup and then Shane to win Xfinity and then also Zillage to win Xfinity and get like 4-1 on both those bets? And
You're
just,
talking like round robin type stuff?
we'll just like parlay Shane and then parlay Shane and Connor.
Yeah. I think
and that way, if you hit one of those, you're getting like 4-1 on that.
Yeah, you would definitely have to. You would have to round robin because you definitely want coverage on both Shane and Zillage and Xfinity.
Yeah.
Despite the price, I don't really care. But in Cup, it's Shane and it's log out, in my opinion.
So like, if you parlayed it, it's like 3-1 here. And then Zillage is almost 4-1. So like bet both of those, and then you'll probably have a good chance at cashing one of those.
Yeah.
Is there a discussion, even as gross as it is, for betting SVG at 165 at DraftKings?
Well, you apparently haven't looked at the card because that's what I'm playing. It's disgusting, but look. Okay. He opened at I believe it was plus 185 at Sonoma, and we scoffed at that. We're like, oh, that's ridiculous. Like, never would I bet that. Puts it on the poll, down to plus 140. We're sitting there as the race starts. Kyle looks over at me. This is like after 5 laps, and he's already up like 5 seconds. And we're looking at the odds, and I'm like, oh, Shane, even money. That's probably a good bet. And sure enough, he goes out and just whips the shit out of the best stock car drivers that we have in the sport. This number is not going to be around unless like Armageddon happens. And look, if that happens,
we're not getting another Mexico City. And if it does, double down. But at this point, he's probably the bet.
Yeah, like, and that's what's so hard about him now. And even the books are realizing that is, where do you price him where they're not going to take money? Because I was under the assumption, actually that this week we were in danger of having him open at even or plus 125. But luckily, with Zillage in the field, that actually kind of kept his number at bay a little bit, I think, because if Connor is not not entering the Cup race, I do think Shane opens at minus money or even close to it, even possibly. As gross as it is,
he's on the card for me too.
I mean, look, the proof is in the data.
I think this
3 straight polls, 3 straight wins, 3 straight ass whoopings. What else do you want to see out of this guy to be convinced that it's him and that's it? Log out, just sit there and obviously don't count your money. But also, if he doesn't win, then so what? You didn't win this one race, but you're not getting invested in 20 guys trying to beat who is possibly the best the sport has ever seen at this one specific skill.
Yeah, there was some opportunity. I think Dinger is interesting, but I need longer than 20. I think
at this point, dude hasn't won in over 2 years.
Kyle Busch, there were some egregious numbers. There's no way in hell I'm betting him at anywhere near 20. There was, I think, 200 at one point.
He actually opened at 350 on Caesars.
Yeah.
Obviously was a complete accident.
Yeah, it should have probably been 35.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking happened. And then they moved him to 250 and then down to like 150. And then they took lines down. So
yeah, there was some opportunities to get him at bigger numbers, but anything less than, let me see, is there anything egregious? Because I think there was like a 50 at somewhere, but I think that's long gone too. No,
so I did want to mention
there's a 50 at BetMGM.
Yeah, I'm not touching that either. I just don't think that there's anybody speed-wise. Like, obviously, again, I'm going to reiterate, like, we're not professionals at this. This is like a side gig, but obviously I'm trying to make money doing this, and responsibly betting this sport is difficult sometimes when you like numbers and you bet numbers. But there are occasions where you have to take a step back and look at what, obviously in NASCAR, this doesn't always happen all the time, but who's going to have the fastest car? And is there going to be anybody who can compete with that?
Yeah, I think you look at the in quote unquote inflated numbers like you would at a drafting track and go, well, obviously they're inflating the numbers. Now, clearly at a drafting track, anyone can win because that stuff gets bonkers. So there's a lot more predictability with road courses. But I think from an outright perspective, don't like see a big number on a guy that you're like, oh shit, I can get him at 20, 25, 30. It's artificial inflation based on SVG.
And I do think that to that point, I think that's like a perfect little segue here. A guy like Chris Buescher, for instance, who won this race last year, is going to be extremely popular in the betting market from the public because he won this race. He is so close to teammate Ryan Preece in points. I'm of the opinion that he's racing the 60 and the 60 alone this weekend, and he cannot risk surrendering whatever type of like points he's going to get. So he's not going to put himself in danger of wrecking or getting a really bad finish at the end. Whereas a guy like Michael McDowell, he's so far down the points list, the only chance that he has at making the playoffs is with a win. So he's going to do the opposite of the safe call and get extremely aggressive.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. So let's talk through how we are actually betting this race, because clearly, unless you're betting SVG in the outright market, it's probably a fool's errand. So who's interesting to you? Top 3, top 5, top 10. Anybody that you think could make some sense at current numbers in terms of placements?
Yeah, so I do think McDowell, top 5 numbers. I know he's been bet down to like 2-1 in most places. I like that. I think Gibbs is another guy who's going to be on the preferred strategy call to try to go for a win, especially because he's got in the back of his mind that he kind of lost Mexico City, where he was the only car that was competitive with Shane in terms of speed. And so I think he's somebody to kind of monitor his numbers with.
You can get 325 on wait, that's not right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's 7-1 for a top 3. He's 325 for a top 5. Those are both.
Yeah, and I don't hate that. And then honestly, the other guy that I actually played this bet already. A little bit worse numbers than I think what's still available, but Chase Briscoe top 10. I think it's at DK still for even money. I'll put this on the card if it's still there. But we're coming with the same tire that we had all of season at these road courses. And our last road course at Sonoma, Chase Briscoe showed up with an absolute rocket, just like he's been doing at shorts and intermediates this year. So I don't expect anything different out of this guy. And if he does that again, and it's as difficult to pass as it always is at road courses, all he has to do is essentially maintain and stay on the preferred strategy to maintain a top 10 spot. And I think he's being a little bit undervalued this week based off of his previous history with SHR at road courses.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, because there's a matchup, and I'll throw out some of my other placements here in a second. Based on the conversation we just had, there's a matchup. I'm pretty sure it's widely available. Briscoe versus Buescher. -115 both sides. No, it's too close.
Yeah, that one's too close for me just because I think.
And if you're betting the minus anyways, just take the top 10 and don't worry about the.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because I do think that there are 2 scenarios for Buescher where if he unloads like he has been doing at road courses this year, which by the way has not been good. He has not been fast at road courses. So I I don't necessarily come into this weekend thinking we're going to see a repeat of last year. But if he unloads like that, then yeah, I love Briscoe just based on the fact that overall speed, Buescher's going to be behind. But if Buescher does unload really fast, I do see him potentially pivoting and surrendering stage points here and going for a win at the end, at the detriment of his own playoff positioning, with the ability to possibly lock himself in. Buescher's not somebody I'm looking to fade a whole ton, but he is somebody that I'd have on like the opposite side of optimism, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair.
Reddick is another guy who I'm a little tempted to bet against, but I can't.
No.
Like, I already know he would
That
shove
dude
it
is
to me.
so snake bitten after last year and everything just coming together and making the Final Four. Everything's gone wrong. Every time he's in position. He's basically been like Byron Light, only he's just not winning like ever. And I'm done betting him. The guy I am betting is Alex Bowman. He's been much better at road courses than I think his numbers indicate. Obviously didn't have the race at Sonoma. He was at Sonoma. He got stuck in that like nonsense at the end, right? And that's why he ended up finishing because there was a point.
I believe so, yeah, because he was definitely
like,
a top 10 car.
Yeah, he was a top 10. He started 9th. He was in the top 10. I think most, if not all day. Pretty sure I had him on the betting card. I can look here in a little bit, but
well, because I know that happened to Buescher too.
Yeah. Well, that just don't get me started on that. we had PTSD. Everything for him, and he just he was running third. I was going to cash top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
I think top 4. And obviously he got bumped and just couldn't get back on the track. So good job, Busch. But Alex Bowman was 9th at Coda, 4th at Mexico City, 8th at Chicago Street. As I mentioned, was a top 10 car all day at Sonoma. Hasn't been quite as strong at the Glen, which is a little concerning, but he's priced accordingly. So I grabbed, let's see, what numbers did I grab on FanDuel? Where's my screen here? Bear with me. I think I can just look, I guess.
So he's 2-1 top 10 right now, but then
so I grabbed plus 240. Anything north of 2-1 I think is great. And then I grabbed 8-1 to top 5.
Wow, he's down to 7 now.
Which is down to 7 now. So then I still like that. I think anything better than like 650, you want to make sure you're getting paid on it because, like I said, I don't think he's a smash for a top 5. I think he's pretty rock solid for a top 10. But as I mentioned, 18th, 23rd, 14th, 20th, like he's never had a top 10 here, so that's a little concerning. But like last year, he started 4th, and that was in the playoffs. Was 2nd after stage 2, 8th after stage 1, and then it finished 18th. Has had some runs 2021 where he was in the top 10, 2019 he was in the top 10, 2018 he was in the top 10, just finished outside. So I don't like it if you're not getting like better than anyway. I think honestly, I think 2-1 or just slightly less I think is fine for top 10. I'm not getting to like 125 150s. But I think if you can get like 175, 180 or better, ideally 2-1. Let me actually look on Action Network while we talk. Where did my screen go? I lost my screen.
But yeah, I do agree on the Bowman call. If you can get 2-1 or longer, I think it's a decent look just based on how consistent he's been at road courses and just being able to run near or inside the top 10.
Yeah, so he's still 2-1 at FanDuel. I think that's great. DraftKings plus 130. I don't like that.
No. Yeah, DraftKings top 10 numbers are weird at the back end. They're super short.
So make sure you price it. If you have questions, you can obviously drop questions in the comments. You can hit us up on the X machine.
As we're talking, Bet365 took down their lines.
Are they listening?
Oh, no, they're back.
Okay. Who else is standing out as potential placement? Ross?
Yeah, so I do think Ross is somebody to consider, but I don't know. I'm also at a point too this week because there's a lot of question marks on strategy. I know Ross is not somebody who's points racing because or that's okay, that's another thing. Ross could also be trying to get points because he's already locked into the playoffs too. And with only 3 races left and the anticipation that say Shane, I think everybody in the Cup Garage that's not Shane Van Gisbergen is coming into this racing and he's going to win. So obviously that's not a new winner. So most guys who are locked in, they're probably just going to try to improve their spot in the playoff standings somehow, some way.
Do you like? I know I said don't bet him because it's stupid, but Tyler Reddick plus 250 for a top 5.
I'm not a huge fan of Reddick this week because I do think that
for as ass as he's been, he was 3rd at Chicago Street and he was 6th at Sonoma, and he's been much more competitive on road courses.
Yeah, but Watkins Glen has always been his crutch.
That's fair.
And also too, you add in we let off with this, but I think Zilich is a legit threat to top 5. So I mean, you add in another really good road course racer who has nothing to lose, by the way.
So SV Jesus, Zilich. Who are the other 3 drivers you think have among the best chance? And I'll pull up.
Michael McDowell is definitely up there.
Michael McDowell's up there for you to top 5.
Yeah.
Dinger.
I would say he's a threat. I don't think he's a favorite to do that. I would probably honestly put a guy like, this is gross. I mean, I'm doing it again, but a guy like Larson who he needs a reset from ovals. It's like,
I know we talked about not doing this, but he's somebody, at least from an outright perspective, that is.
He won't have the pace. That's the problem. Is these guys can think they're fast, and then Shane says, "All right, forget it. I'm done playing with you fools. Let me put 3 tenths on you."
Well, that's the thing too. Is even Connor mentioned it. I think where they would in the Xfinity race where they would hang back, still have a lead, but hang back, and then there'd be go time with a few laps, and then they just take off and they were gone. So I don't know. We'll see if we get.
Kyle Larson said it during his press conference at Sonoma, where he's like, he said the guy is better than anybody I've seen do this. And when you have Kyle Larson saying stuff like this, you know how good Shane is.
Yeah. All right. So Chris Buescher, we don't like. Is there opportunity with top Ford, or is it just that camp is so bad, especially when it comes to road courses, that it's not worth getting invested?
Yeah, I don't see anybody on there that I'm like, oh yeah, I think this guy's good at a road course. I think it's too volatile this week.
What about Toyota? Anything? Gibbs 3-1.
Honestly, I kind of like Briscoe.
Sure.
Because I do think you can run into a scenario where, say, Briscoe qualifies up front again. He runs 3rd through 5th pretty much the entire day, just maintaining. And the other guys, maybe Reddick, maybe Gibbs, and he's right there with them. And he finishes 4th or 5th, and he's the best Toyota.
Yeah. No, I think Briscoe and I think Gibbs both make some sense. What about Bell?
I don't know, man. He's been just la-di-da-di-da the past. I think he's ready for the playoffs.
5th at Sonoma, 2nd at Mexico City. He's had all kinds of nonsense. So maybe, I don't know. But I think there is a reason he's the favorite.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I also think that Briscoe has been showing up with much more speed than anybody else in the camp. So,
yeah. That feels well. So Hocevar was really good here last year.
He was decent. He caught the caution at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're putting a lot of guys that I don't really want to like. The Briscoe Busher one. Here's that. It's minus 120 on this one, so that's kind of interesting.
It's also total bullshit that we're at 30 cents of hold instead of 20.
I mean, I think we're going to be talking in a couple of years about. Remember when we could get 115 on either side? That was crazy.
Shit, at that point, we're not even going to be betting anymore. We're going to be
retired. The way it's trending,
yeah,
it's getting really gross. It's hard to
got to go YOLO at the end of this season,
and especially like you have to get numbers before, or else you don't get anything.
Yeah.
Any other match bets you want to look at? Anything else standing out to you? Any other potential values? I can pull up other books if there's stuff that you've seen, or any other bets, any books that have head-to-heads open.
There's literally nothing. DK has some head-to-heads, but nothing exciting.
So let us know, how are you betting this week's race? Are you just not betting it? Are you trying to find a couple numbers and then just sitting back and enjoying it? And let us know, did you enjoy Indy or Iowa more? Obviously Brian and I made our cases. Make sure you click that like button. Make sure you click subscribe on the way out. We will be back in your feed Sunday morning. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter so you get that email to you as soon as it's done. It'll probably be a late Saturday, but that'll be okay. That's kind of our norm, at least at this point. The end of the season is coming, so get us to 1,500 subs so we can do a giveaway. I would really love to do that.
I'm not touching it.
I'm putting that on the card. Brian just tickled my fancy with I'm clearly gonna ruin Alex Bowman this week, but maybe it puts Kyle Busch in victory lane, and I'm really happy with it. Our friends over at 365 have Kyle Busch, or have Alex Bowman as a plus 130 underdog against KFB. So just when you think you need more Alex Bowman, you get a way to do it. So I will add that to the card here. I can pull that up really quick so you guys can see where we're at. Bowman top 5, Bowman top 10, SVG 165, Ben Bowman over KFB. Brian has SVG and Briscoe to top 10. Both are fun. Both I think make sense. We'll see as we add bets. Obviously, we'll drop those in the comments if we do. As I mentioned, we'll record Saturday night, back in your feed Sunday morning. Subscribe, do all the things, get us to 1,500 subs, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your uncles, tell your aunts, tell your cousins, tell your whoever's. I don't care. Just tell them to click subscribe. Go into an Apple store, hit subscribe on a bunch of people's YouTube channels, whatever you want to do. That is Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let us know where you're at, what you're doing, what your plan is. Iowa versus Indy. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Indy was definitely better.
Talk to you next time.